Hello, I can see people joining. Hi, welcome. I'm just going to share my screen. Welcome, welcome to our workshop today, Getting Started as a New Yoga Teacher with Shannon Crow. Hopefully you can all see the screen. And I'm just going to let everybody join and take a moment here. We've got a nice big group joining us today. So take your time, get settled in. If you're already online, you can take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know where are you in the world, maybe what your offerings are. We would love to hear from you. And make sure, Shannon was just telling me, make sure that you send any of your messages to everyone in the group in the chat message if that's your intention. Otherwise, it would default to just Shannon and I. So yes, welcome. I'll give it another couple of seconds for everyone to hop on. Awesome.
It is. It's so fun to see like some familiar names popping up.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear where everyone's tuning in from.
it is. It's so cool. Okay, so let's get this started. So welcome to our workshop today, which is Getting Started as a New Yoga Teacher with Shannon Crow. Thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Sinead. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a yoga teacher living here in Calgary, Alberta, and I've been an Offering Tree user for about 3 years now, running my little yoga business through my Offering Tree site, and I absolutely love the software so much so that I actually work for Offering Tree now as well. So I've been part of the marketing team for the last 2 years over here at Offering Tree. And if you haven't heard of Offering Tree before, or if you want to know a little bit more about us, we are an all-in-one software for wellness businesses and entrepreneurs. So whether you're an individual wellness business or a studio, the software can support you with class scheduling, payment processing. It's a website. It brings everything together if you wanted to run a membership, an on-demand library, courses, email marketing, everything all in one place. With the aim that we can make your life a little bit simpler, we take care of the tech so that you don't have to, and things are a little bit more streamlined, and that we save you time and money as well by having it all in one place. So another way that we try and save you some energy and provide things for you is by hosting these workshops. And today we've got Shannon Crow joining us to talk all about getting started as a new yoga teacher. And you might have heard of Shannon as the podcast host of the Connected Yoga Teacher, and she's also the founder of the Pelvic Health Professionals membership. So before I pass the mic over to Shannon, I'm just going to go through a couple of housekeeping tips here. I'll be here on mute in the background with my camera off, but if you need anything, you can message me. As I said, we'll figure out what's going on with the chat, and I'll drop a little note in to let everyone know that the chat is working. If you have those questions in the chat, do let us know. We'll get through them all throughout the workshop. And we've got the live transcription tool enabled. It should be at the bottom of your screen. And we will be sending out a replay. So as you heard, this is being recorded. The replay will be in your inbox tomorrow. And we'll be sending out an additional little PDF that Shannon's going to work through today as well. So that's enough from me. I'm going to vanish here in the background and just handing it over to you, Shannon.
Hey everyone, thank you so much, Sinead, and to the entire team at Offering Tree. Thank you also to Sinead, who's going to figure out how to enable the chat, because we want to hear your questions and also hear like where you're tuning in from if you're here live. Maybe you're tuning in for the replay. I'm just really excited to be here and to talk to you today. So in case you don't know who I am, my name is Shannon Crow. My pronouns are she, her, and I live on Odawa, Mississauga, and Anishinaabe land, which is also called the Bruce Peninsula up in Ontario, Canada. So we're about 3 hours north of Toronto, because a lot of people don't know where we live. And yes, we get a lot of snow up here, sometimes like 6 feet in a winter that just accumulates, not all at once, but over the winter. So yeah, we get a lot of snow up here, and I live in a small community. So when I first became a yoga teacher, it was it was a challenge for a lot of things, like coming out of yoga teacher training, kind of leaving this supportive bubble, and it felt like just being dropped off into the jungle, into the wilderness of like, now you need to learn a lot more about teaching yoga on top of running a business, because I had decided that I wanted to share yoga with as many people as I possibly could. And in order to do that, that meant that I was running a business. And over the years, then I also wanted to work with yoga teachers. So Sinead already said I have a podcast for yoga teachers to help them grow their business, share yoga, learn as they go. If you're not already listening to the podcast, come on over and check it out. It's the Connected Yoga Teacher. And we also have a supportive Facebook group as well, where you can ask questions if you have questions, because I get it. It's really tricky. And that's why today I'm really excited that we get to go through a checklist basically of all of the things that I wish that I would have known coming out of yoga teacher training. Oh, also a note for those of you who are here live, the chat is now working. So we'd love to see, type in the chat, like, where are you here from? If you have questions, Sinead will grab those questions. She'll keep track of them for us as well. Tell us, like, what's your biggest challenge as a yoga teacher right now? How can we help you today in this workshop? All right, I already see an Ontario person, Alabama, Michigan. I won't read them all out. Well, I'll keep going, but feel free to chat away with each other. Find someone else who's from the same place as you in the chat. Okay, so today I do have a PDF that I will be sending you by email. Sinead or myself or both of us will send this to you. And it's going to look like this. Let me know if you can see the PDF. This is just the first page. We're going to go through all of these points, but along the way, I want you to ask me questions when you have questions, please. These are this is like the checklist of the things that I learned the hard way. I wish I knew coming out of yoga teacher training. I learned from, like, years later, I learned some of these things. So feel free to let me know if you also had this question or challenge, or if you're struggling with one of these things, let me know as we go through. So the very first one, and again, you'll get a copy of this. This is I'm giving you a very shortened version for your PDF, and then I'll go into detail in these. So the very first one is energy and personal practice. So your yoga practice is your fuel. This is what's going to keep you going. And I don't just mean like keep you going physically. It's going to keep you going when you have to market, when you are feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't want to put myself out there. I'm not feeling confident. It's going to hold you steady through creating class plans. And I want to highlight that I do not mean that you need to roll out your mat and do a 1 or 2 hour practice every single day and come into scorpion pose to be the best yoga teacher. What I mean is, if you can, and there's no shame or blame when we fall away from this routine, come into some type of practice. So yoga is so much more beyond like asana or asana, the yoga poses. It is much more than that. We know that as we become yoga teachers. So I think for me, the biggest thing has been learning to, it doesn't even have to be that I roll out my yoga mat. But if I have this set time where I ask myself, what do I need today? And then I find maybe a breath practice, maybe a meditation, maybe, some movement along with it, or a pose that's really calling to me. In that moment, in that day, if I check in with myself and I ask myself, what do I need? To me, that's really the door opening of my practice. And we have done a lot of podcasts, maybe selfishly, because I've fallen away from my personal practice over the years many times. And then I come back to it in such a way that I like have learned how to build it. And the best thing that has helped me to build that is thinking, okay, just one pose, Shannon. The same time every single day, you'll like come to the mat and just do one pose. And maybe then that stretches into 2 poses, 3, 5 minutes. You'll hang out with yourself here for 5 minutes. And then it can eventually expand and grow. And also it needs to change. It needs to change with the seasons of your life and the seasons of what's happening in within a year. Like here in Canada, we have seasons. So find what really fuels you. And, you know, I'd love to hear if anyone else has tips for like, this is what holds me to my practice. Or if you're also feeling the struggle of, gosh, I've fallen away from doing my practice. And I know that's the one thing. And I'm adding this as the very first thing on the checklist because over the years, as I've worked with yoga teachers, when they tell me, I'm struggling with this marketing thing, I'm struggling on creating my class plan, I feel like I'm not confident enough, I need this other thing, I gently ask, how are you doing with your own personal yoga practice? And it's not as like pointing at someone. I just know it makes such a difference. It makes a difference of how we show up. Oh, I love this. Helen is sharing, I need to join other live classes as my practice. I like to move with others as not the teacher. Helen, I'm so glad you said this. So this is the one thing that I found over the years is that I fell away from doing my own practice. And because I couldn't get out of being the teacher, I'd even attend classes and want to take notes. So when that happened to me, I found another movement practice I did. I did strength training and I did it mindfully. And I built my self-care muscle along with a coach that I worked with. So I definitely feel this, find what is nurturing to you. Sometimes it might be, you know what? I'm going to go outside and walk every day at this time and like notice nature around me, notice what's going on around me. Okay, so let's see what else people say. Cindy saying, I do my sunrise bed yoga practice to help manage my chronic arthritis pain. That's amazing, Cindy. I'm so glad that you do this. It sounds like you've really figured it out in terms of what you need to manage that pain. Margaret is saying, I take classes 3 times a week. I'm retired. Fela, nice to see you here. I've totally fallen away from my practice. Always feel so good when I do. And just not showing up for myself. You know what? Let's not beat ourselves up. It happens. Like there are some people that I know who are like, I do my yoga every single day and I've like got it down. Amazing. Let's find inspiration with them, but let's not also like put shame and blame on ourselves when we fall away from it. Let's find how we can do it. So there are some great podcast episodes. I know that we did one with Matt Kowald and it was all about building habits. And we also did one with James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. And in those, we talk about how to stack habits and how to make something a habit. So if you feel like you've fallen away from your personal practice, those are really good ones for sure. They're inspiring. MJ Waddell says, I feel blogging about it helps. I wrote a blog about my relationship with technology and how inept I felt while creating my yoga site. Oh my gosh, I love the blogging about it. Audrey's saying, I practice every morning before breakfast. For me, it's like a ritual. Yes. So if you've ever gotten into the ritual of like brushing your teeth is a really good example, then we can make it a habit, a ritual. Audrey says, I notice that the days I cannot do my practice, my day does not flow as well. So that's motivating. Carly says, I also either attend live or in-person classes weekly. I love to practice without being the teacher. I have to move my body to manage pain as well. Ashley Hagan says, I try to take one class at a studio per week when possible, but different seasons of life call for different practices. So true, Ashley. Right now, I'm doing a lot more indoor cycling and occasional gentle yoga. These are great, everyone. Mary's saying, I don't have my own personal practice because I'm totally engrossed in researching, preparing, and rehearsing my classes for the students I teach. So this is where I would ask, do you think, like, when we learn like this researching, preparing, rehearsing your classes, what would it feel like to have like something that's just yours? Even if it's like 1 minute of breath. Because I only say that because I have burned myself out doing the opposite. um, oh, Muna is saying cultivating awareness in nature. Oh my gosh, yes. I love being outside. Um, and I think that we can definitely practice yoga outside. We can practice yoga being in conversation with someone as well. Yoga does not just happen on the mat. I feel like we could spend the whole time talking about this, but I want to also jump to the other one. I love this. Keep continuing on in the chat for sure. I love seeing these comments of what helps you. And if you fall away from it, you can come back to it. Okay, so the next thing that I wish I would have known leaving yoga teacher training, this was a big one. That's why it's number 2, continuing education. So let me really highlight this. Please buy your next yoga teacher training or whatever training it is with your profit. So we'll get into that in a minute. And then ask yourself a good question to ask yourself, because I think questions are helpful. Will more training help my community? Now, this is really important. I heard a yoga teacher colleague talking yesterday. It was a light bulb moment for me when they were saying, someone needed this in my community. My yoga students were coming to me. Someone had this specific injury or issue with their body. And so I knew I wanted to take a training that would help them. Amazing. So 2 parts of this. I see yoga teachers all the time, and I have felt it myself as a yoga teacher. You think, I need another yoga teacher training to grow my business so that I don't have to market as hard, so that people know that I'm a more legit yoga teacher, or so that I feel more confident. Please consider asking yourself, could I teach until I make enough profit? We're going to talk about that in a moment. And then that's where we buy the yoga teacher training. And notice when that comes up as well. I'm almost getting into the next part of things. But notice where we start to feel like I need another yoga teacher training. So those are the 2 questions. Is this going to help my community? Is this a teacher training that is going to help my community? And can I pay for this using the profit that I've made? Is anyone here who's here live? Can you pop in the chat if you have figured out, yeah, I do that. I take the profit from my yoga career and my yoga job, and I buy my yoga teacher training with that. Or maybe you have another job and you're like, no, that other job pays for my yoga teacher training, the profit that I have from that. Lisa, thank you so much for saying this. This is a cycle that we get into. Lisa says, I keep signing up for more training and feel stalled in teaching. I have seen yoga teachers sign up, yoga teacher training. Okay, I need just one more and then I'll feel ready to teach. Another one, and like take hundreds and hundreds of hours and never teach, which is fine if you're independently wealthy and you're like, I just want to do this for continuing education and to feel closer to yoga and be a better, Sky's saying guilty, to be a better human. Okay, cool. Take those yoga teacher trainings. If you have a way to pay for them, do it. But if you have decided I'm going to make this my business, please use your profit for that. let me see if I had another note on this. Oh, yes, I really want to talk to you all about this. There's been a new trend that I've seen in the last, I want to say 3 to 5 years, of like yoga teachers message me and say, Shannon, I'm getting these weird spammy marketing messages from like coaches that work with yoga teachers, and it's not feeling okay. If someone is telling you that you need them as a coach, or this teacher training, or this mentorship program, or this mastermind, or whatever it is, and they're telling you this will be the success of your yoga career, challenge them. Send them my way. Take your 200-hour and then teach. That's what's going to teach you so much. You hopefully your 200-hour has given you what you need to jump out into the world and teach. And to the coaches out there that are telling people, you can't do this, I really want to challenge them. I think they're using the fear that we have as yoga teachers in a slimy, spammy marketing tactic. They're digging into the fear instead of what's actually real and what's actually helpful. And I've been a mentor for yoga teachers, and I've worked with yoga teachers as a consultant, and over the years, and yoga teachers have come to me for help. And one of the key things is they have the answers. I know they have the answers. I just know how to ask questions, and I've been teaching for a long time. And it should not cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It should not take hundreds of hours. And oftentimes it's like, put yourself out there, teach, put yourself out there, market. So does anyone have any questions about that? Oh, I love this. Jessica said, I'm currently saving money from profit for training thanks to your Profit First podcast. So we are going to talk about money and profit. And I'm so glad that you found that, Jessica, and that you're using it, because you can make profit from like day one. All right. I'm seeing like, okay, we all have done this. We have all signed up for a yoga teacher training where you're like, that's going to be the answer. Trust me, from knowing yoga teachers and from knowing also pelvic health professionals, I work with a lot of PTs and physiotherapists or physical therapists. They are also facing the same struggles as you, even though they have a whole other training. They still need to market, get clients. They have more rules around marketing though, and build their business the same as you. And they have the same struggles. And sometimes they think maybe another training will be the answer. And it's often not, most often not. But if you are feeling like, I need to take this training because I have this thing, we'll get into scope of practice chatting, like there's some way that I can help the people that I'm working with more, and I've made enough money to do it, okay, then sign up for it. Sky is saying, I've had 2 different yoga mentors beg me to spend big money to help me gain the confidence to teach. You know what? We're going to dig into confidence next, but I'm not enjoying what I'm seeing right now in the marketing world, and I'm trying to watch it with compassion. I shouldn't say the entire marketing world. Some coaches for yoga teachers have taken a very aggressive approach, and I know the yoga teachers who are feeling it aren't feeling good about it. That's when we know our marketing isn't connected with their values. And so if you feel that, please know that you don't need those things. You don't need, what's going to give you the confidence to teach? Let's get into that. Let's figure out what we can do. Okay, let me share. That's our next one. So the third one down here is confidence and imposter syndrome. Hands down, 100% of the time, yoga teachers who have joined our Facebook group and talked about their challenges, or yoga teachers I've worked with, 100% of the time, the majority of people say their biggest challenge or struggle is confidence and feeling that imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to teach this? I don't have enough training. I don't have enough skills. I don't want to show up and look like a fool. All those things. That is a normal feeling. Believe me, I'm here doing a workshop, and I used to feel that way about leading workshops. I have a podcast. I used to definitely feel like that on the podcast. And there are times when I still show up and I feel nervous. Teach to build your confidence, not another training. So getting out there and teaching is what builds that confidence more than anything. And then the question that I want you to ask yourself, because let's bring the yoga back into it. Let's notice, what does imposter syndrome feel like to me? What does that self-doubt feel like to me? And what if we sat with it and we just felt it? Sinead and I were popping on here, we're doing tech stuff before the workshop and the chat wasn't working. It could feel like that. It could feel like, oh my gosh, we don't have the tech figured out. You know what? Sinead got on it. She Googled it. You all helped her. We did it. We're fine. We made it through. We now know that how to do that setting until Zoom changes it again. That's the thing, when you dive in and you kind of do that uncomfortable thing, which is sometimes teaching that class or teaching that workshop, you learn along the way. You're going to get better at it. That is just the best advice I ever got as a new yoga teacher was get out there and teach. And then I helped in yoga teacher trainings. I assisted and I led yoga teacher trainings. And that was always my message going in. I know you don't feel ready to teach, jump out there and do it. And then you will get better. It's the same with parenting. How many of you felt like me leaving the hospital? And I was like, you're going to let me take this baby home with me and I'm just in charge of it now? Yes. Okay. Muna's saying totally agree, and also starting to teach for the community for free. Yes, I'm not saying that you can't teach for free. I would say if you need to make money in your business though, I love how these are flowing right into the next one. The next one we're going to talk about is money. Don't be afraid to charge for your work. I'm just let's see where we sit with this. Okay, as a combination. I love it. I do teach things for free. I don't want to say never teach anything for free. I've also had to rely on my yoga business to pay all of the bills as a single mom with 3 kids. So I know that I couldn't be doing things for free all the time in those stages of life. So you might hit a stage where you can do things for free, but don't be afraid to charge money. This leads so nicely into the next one. So next one is making money, actual profit. So number 1, get a business bank account. Who here, and I put business in quotes because here in Canada, you don't need a specific business account, but definitely in the US you do. So find out what the rules are in your country. But you can still have a separate account, which you call your business account, and it's all business stuff. That's what we do here in Canada. And definitely talk to your accountant about that. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a banker. But who here has a separate account where you can see the money coming in for your business and the money going out? And also, are you checking it? And then the question is, am I set up and ready to make profit now? And this is a two-sided question. Are you set up and ready to make profit emotionally and also physically? Do you have things set up in your business to make profit? Let's see. One note I wanted to say is every Friday I do what's called Finance Friday. So I pay my bills, I look at my finances, I make sure that my invoices have gone out, I make sure that I have everything to my bookkeeper that I need to get to her. And we have some good podcasts on finances and accounting specifically for yoga teachers, I'm happy to gather those for you. Or you can just go to theconnectedyogateacher.com and type in accounting or money in our search bar, and it will find it for you. But I like having this on Friday personally, because I like to batch my time so that I do it one. And it feels like I do a little check-in with my business. Like, how many podcast downloads do we get? How many people are in our Facebook group? What was my income like? Like, I have this, I call it my CEO report, and I do that on Fridays. And having a separate bank account. So I didn't believe this when I first came out of yoga teacher training. I was like, well, I'll just track it. Like, I've done accounting before. I used to be a farmer, and we had to keep track of everything, and we kept it all in our bank account. But you know what? There's such a difference. There's like an energetic difference when you actually treat this like a real business, not just a hobby. And I would definitely, someone already mentioned the profit first system. We did a whole podcast episode on that with Shannon, I want to say Simmons. And it's geared towards yoga teachers. I love that episode. I love learning from Shannon in that one. And you can implement it slowly. That's the other thing with profit first. So have a listen to that one as well. I love to see, like, yes, doing business as business account. Yes. Am I saying, I have a separate checking account. I'm not set up properly to grow my business. That's okay. If you have a separate account, amazing. That's all you need. And Sky, are you asking for more information on my Facebook group? Oh, thank you. Sinead's putting a link to our Facebook group. Yeah, it's definitely there for you. We have some questions to answer to get into the Facebook group. And because we want things to be super supportive in there, we don't want you to get spammed. That's the other thing we were finding in there. Some people were coming after yoga teachers. I do want to say one thing around money. And the part that I maybe forgot to say is I've been looking at things with compassion. When people are hitting like really hard marketing and it's not feeling great on the receiving end, I try and send compassion to this person and think, you know what, maybe they're really struggling financially, which some people are right now. Well, there are some people that are not. And also, last note on the money is to notice when you are feeling money stuff come up. I have definitely had this over the years as a yoga teacher. I think that we want to give and help and serve, and we connect with the yamas and niyamas of yoga and the sutras and the philosophy of yoga. And there can be this kind of push-pull, and it's like, yes, and both things are there. We may start to feel discomfort around capitalism and making money. And I think it's good to question that. And personally, like, come to your own place with this. But personally, I know that I'm doing good things in the world with the work that I do. And I want to keep doing it. And the way that I can do that in the society that we have is I want to make money to pay my bills. And I also want to help yoga teachers make money, because I know yoga teachers make good decisions about like the planet and each other. And when people are connected to themselves and they care about each other and they care about the philosophy of yoga. So, all right. Sky, I'm sorry that you had this experience saying like some yoga mentors added me as a friend and then made me feel uncomfortable and kept persisting. It doesn't feel good. If someone messages me out of the blue, like, I don't mind if you message me out of the blue and say like, hey, I just heard this podcast and here's what I loved. But if someone just messages me out of the blue and like sends me an event, I'm like, That's weird. It'd be like walking down the street, someone just jumps out in front of you and it's like, you have to sign up for this workshop. That's not how conversations go. Yay, let's celebrate Brianna for saying, I have a separate account and I made my first $10 this weekend. Oh my gosh. And I love that people are jumping in the comments and saying yay and celebrating. This is so good. Yes, can definitely celebrate making money. Okay, let's keep rolling here. I want to fit this all in. Got my list. I'm sticking to the time. So the next one is website marketing. So use your website to promote your offerings. Who here, let us know in the chat, who here doesn't have a website? Let's start there. If you don't have a website and you're like, do I really need one? Because maybe we all have a website and I don't have to get up on that soapbox if you all have a website. And the question to ask yourself is, how can people sign up to work with me? I've worked with so many yoga teachers who we talk about their marketing struggles, and then I go to their website, or maybe they don't have a website, and I cannot even see how to sign up and work with them in any capacity. So I want you to ask yourself, like, can people sign up to work with me? So we Google things all the time. I don't have to tell you, even if I'm going like to the local pumpkin patch or the apple orchard, which I've been looking for this week, I'm Googling it and I want to know, do they have a website? Does it tell me their hours and their information? Then does it lead me to their Instagram page with more information? I'm always Googling. So if you're wanting to grow your business, you need a website. And the amazing thing is, if you're like, oh, I don't want to do it, Offering Tree has it's a great place to start with a website where you don't have to worry about the tech. That's what I tell you. Any yoga teacher who's hesitant to build a website, build a really simple one on Offering Tree, unless you feel like, oh, I love code and plugins and updating things, then go for it. I used to build websites, so I have a WordPress website and sometimes I curse it. Sometimes I really don't like dealing with it, but I do like to set things up, but I still use Offering Tree to share my offerings, get people to sign up, get them paying, signing the waiver form, like all of the registration stuff, the automatic emails that go out, all of those things. So there's a way to use it with your existing website, or there is a way to use it entirely on its own. Probably the most powerful conversation I've had this year with a yoga teacher, which I shared it on the podcast. I don't know which episode it was. I talked with a yoga teacher who said that they were lying on their couch with their toddler and like created a website from their phone in 10 minutes on Offering Tree. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Okay. So Lisa says, I don't have one yet. Another Lisa, two Lisas. Two Lisas are here. Andrea says, I don't have one yet. I need one. My online booking system doubles up as my website. Okay, that's the other thing. Jen, you're saying it's good for now. If you've got a system where people can sign up for your offering, leave it. Don't mess with it. Audrey's saying, I don't have one either. Oh my gosh, MJ just published yesterday. Feel free to pop it in the chat here. If you have a website, you want to share it with us, do that. Alan, am I getting this right? Mine is in the process. I'm doing it with help from a friend. It's been very challenging to do. Been in the process since June, almost ready though. So I've worked with many yoga teachers across the board who like, you know, they're just like, I'm going to set something up on Offering Tree. It's going to take me 10 minutes, 30 minutes. The team over there is going to help me, which is amazing. They're going to do all the plugins. I'm going to let them do the updates. All the way to like, I want to customize every color and button and thing and really take my time and build like a customized site even beyond WordPress. So see where you land on that thing. But I do have some website tips to share. Oh, Lisa, great question. Do you need a website if you're teaching in studios? Yes. Studios close, as we saw with COVID. Studios also really appreciate. I used to run a studio and I loved when I could promote like a yoga teacher and like grab their bio and see their information. And maybe there's a time where you want to offer a workshop or something online that's not affiliated with the studio, if that's allowed, and it should be. I feel like I could go on a whole rant about that. Yoga teachers need to make a living and they often work as contract workers, and that should be okay in the world, in my opinion. So yeah, for sure. Now, if the studio that you're teaching at, this just feels like a solid thing, you are completely booked in your classes, the marketing, no one has to worry about marketing, your classes are always full. Maybe you could hold off on the website. Maybe that's not at the top of your list. But I would say, like, what would you do if the studio closed? Would you have something up there? I don't want to scare you. I just think that it's important to think about these things. And I also don't think that we can just rely on Instagram or a Facebook page, because as we've seen, those things go down, or maybe we're not happy with the values of the company. A website is really yours. Mary is saying, I'm not very skilled with technology. I don't have a website, but I work with the company where I did my YTT. I need to learn what's involved in having my own website. Okay. Oh, thank you. Sinead is sharing Sarah Villamil's website, and that's the person who set it up in 10 minutes. It's a beautiful website. I also have some insider information that Offering Tree is adding some really new customized design elements to the website. I'm really excited about this. And yeah, I feel like we could do a whole call on websites. You know what? Reach out to the team at Offering Tree for sure if you want to see how their website works. Sinead, we also have a YouTube link where we got a tour of the things that Offering Tree can do. The amazing thing is you can put videos on there. You can sell things in the store like your PDFs, your videos. You can have a membership on Offering Tree. There's a lot of growth potential. Sky is saying, I do have a website, but no business plan or marketing strategy. I just post to Instagram and Facebook. Gosh, Sky, I have so much to say. I am aware of the time and I know I want to fit these other things in. One thing I want to say about websites to kind of wrap this up is, please create your about page, have a picture of you and your smiley, lovely face. That's really important. People connect with you when they can see your face. Also, put your offerings on there. And that's what I love about Offering Tree is you create an offering and all the details are there. You need to insert all the details. Do not go all out in making a marketing strategy or a blog or all the things until you have your offering ready, because there's no point in marketing and getting that going unless you have an offering up where people can sign up. Okay, Sinead, I'm going to rely on you to grab any questions. I love how some of you are saying, like, here's my Offering Tree. It's super easy. Take a look. We also have a discount code for you as well, which is offeringtree.com/Shannon. If you want to get a discount, I love discounts. We use that for our podcast listeners. I already got permission from Sinead that I could share it here with all of you. Nice. Keep chatting about websites over in the chat, and I'm going to get into some really exciting insurance and legal considerations. Okay, who here is from the US and who here is from Canada? And who here is from somewhere else? I have a little note for our Canadian yoga teachers. So definitely review your insurance, your waiver, your privacy policy. Yeah, you can see my page. We have some podcasts on this as well. I know that we have 2 on legal considerations and 1 on like waivers. And so basically, if you have a question about it, you can always put it in our Facebook group and say, hey, Shannon, I need to know more about insurance. I need to know more about this legal thing. I'm not the expert in that, but I've interviewed the experts. If you are in the US, my favorite, maybe Offering Tree has a discount code. I do somewhere, is Be Yogi for our US people. I don't use Be Yogi, but I have a lot of friends who do in the US. In Canada, my favorite by far this month used to be called Lackner McLennan. It's now owned by Gallagher. I did a very recent podcast interview, and in that podcast interview, I realized you can get 24/7 legal consultation if you have insurance with them. That's amazing. Like, we cannot, I don't know any other insurance company that has that. So, oh, we've got someone from Ireland, Austria. Okay, so Canadian yoga teachers, definitely check out. It's now Gallagher. It used to be Lackner and McLennan. And check out the podcast that we did, because we talked about teaching online or teaching and traveling. Those are some common questions that come up. We have lots of resources there for you about that. All right, I'm going to skip through these because let me know your questions as well if you have questions about insurance or legal things. I know Offering Tree also has a great resource around waivers. So Sinead might grab that for you. Scope of practice. I'm going to make this very sweet and simple. Please look at the 8 limbs for what yoga is, or look at what is your, like, this is yoga. I use the 8 limbs. That's what I know is within my scope of practice as a yoga teacher. And then you can ask yourself, if what you're sharing is not in there, maybe you need a different training beyond yoga. So that's fine. Let me just say, I'm going to get on the soapbox here for a moment. I don't talk about food to anyone, nothing about food. And we have some great podcasts coming out soon. We did one a while back on scope of practice around food and the diet culture that's out there. So I am not trained as a registered dietitian or a nutritionist. I don't have any training, professional training in like disordered eating. So I'm not qualified to talk to anyone about food. I'm not qualified to like diagnose an injury. I don't know what's wrong with your body. When you come to me and you tell me I have this pain, I could have a guess of what it might be, but it stays in my brain. I don't say it out loud. I don't diagnose. I really stick within my scope of practice as a yoga teacher. And, you know, I took a Thai yoga massage training and then learned how to do like assisted touch, like Thai yoga massage as a side thing. I took that training and I feel like it's within my scope of practice, and I learned all kinds of, you know, I wanted to take more training around trauma-informed yoga and different things if I was going to do hands-on assists with people. So I think the lines get very blurred in the yoga world, and it's up to us to really dig into scope of practice. I did some podcast episodes on the 8 limbs, and Tammy, I love that you're saying preach. Thank you. You know what? I have had a lot of yoga teachers challenge me on this, and I am okay with it. Notice where you see it. Notice when you go to a yoga website and you see diet culture showing up, or you see people talking about nutrition or like SI joint pain and diagnosing something. And ask yourself, is this within the scope of practice of a yoga teacher? The podcast is the Connected Yoga Teacher Podcast. And if you go in and search the 8 limbs, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Sinead will know. Did we do one on the 8 limbs or do one on scope of practice? I talk about it quite a bit, and you're going to hear more specifically around food because I got some registered dietitians to come in and talk with us. That's coming out, I think, next Monday. I think next Monday we start that. All right. Let me get to these last ones. I was like, I can get through these. What's your yoga? So I have a couple of things that go at the end of this PDF because I love talking about niching down. And Offering Tree, I did a webinar with Offering Tree. So all of you who use Offering Tree, you have access to that. Niche down or like specialize to grow your referrals. Referrals meaning, when, let's say I do teach yoga for pelvic health. So when someone goes to their friend and says, I'm having these issues, like I'm peeing my pants every time I jump on the trampoline. If that person knows me well, they're like, you should talk to Shannon. She talks about incontinence a lot on her podcast and in her yoga classes. And that's my niche. And that's like a great marketing channel when you get really well known for something. And then the question is, what yoga do I want to share in this season? Niching is a whole other topic. I have done like I said, a whole call on that. And oh yeah, I wanted to share with you what I do have for you in this PDF. 2 questionnaires. Do I need to specialize? And you'll go through these and answer them true and false. You'll get this. And then a would you rather game. Would you rather teach this or this? And these are baby steps to like finding what your specialty is in your niche. Okay. Let me get back to, oh yeah, this is a great place to land next. Thinking about collaboration. So people who are here, like here in this workshop and maybe in the chat, you might see their name and maybe you know them, come into the Connected Yoga Teacher Facebook group. Also, Offering Tree has an amazing support group. Whether you're a user or not, you can ask all kinds of questions in there. So collaborate and ask for support. So connect with people who understand your work. It's so hard if you're talking to a friend who like goes off to work, works a 9-to-5 job, has no idea what it's like to be a yoga teacher running their own business. It's hard to then vent away like, oh, I posted something on social media and like no one signed up. And I love that I can talk to friends who understand this side of things. So this is a two-way street. Who can I support? And then who can support me? And that might not be the same person, or it might be. We have to ask for that support. And for me, as a mom of 3, this has not been an easy muscle to build. So I just want to say, like, asking for support can mean, okay, I have this workshop, it's not filling. I think I'll tell 3 of my friends about it and say, can you think of anyone that would like to come to this workshop? Asking for support might be, asking someone you live with, hey, I'm super tired because I've been doing this training all week, and can you make dinner? Can we order out? Can you do the laundry? Finding that support. And also when I finish a podcast, I often ask people, how can I support your work? I want to know, how can I share someone's thing? How can I support them? Especially yoga teachers. So yeah. Andrea, we're glad you're here, even though you're late to the party. I'm so glad that you're enjoying it. Okay. Last one, and then questions. We really stick to the time in here. I know that. So worst thing first. Eat the frog. There's a whole book on this. There's a whole philosophy. You don't have to actually eat a frog to do this step. But please, after today, choose one task on your, how it's either rolling around in your brain, or maybe you've made a very organized list and you kind of avoid that thing, like making that website or posting that offering or telling people about that thing or scheduling that 6-week series that you want to do, but you're like, oh, my life is busy. Put that task before anything else, especially the one that you're like, I know it would grow my business, but it feels feels uncomfortable. It feels scary. It feels too big. And then the question to ask yourself is what one task will grow my business? What is the one thing that's going to do that? And I'm laughing because I'm the one who like wants to go check my email before I go do that one task. Get that task off your list and it'll make the day roll a little bit smoother as a business owner. Thank you, Sinead, for putting lots of things into the chat here. I'm here for your questions now. We've got 3 minutes. Oh, I love it. I love that, Helen. So, Sinead, go ahead. Jump in here. Glad you got
Thank
someone to
you
cook.
so much. I know, I love all the comments coming back and forth. It's awesome. Good for you, Helen, getting your husband to cook dinner for you. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Shannon. This has been awesome. So much information that we can all learn from this. And I wanted to take one more opportunity to share that link for a discount to Offering Tree today. I'm just going to drop that in the chat. Let's see, do we have any other? Heather has a great question. Do you see that one, Shannon?
Above that, Margaret said, how much is Offering Tree? I'm so bad at this because I have it in Canadian dollars. So I don't know where you are, Margaret. Or maybe you have a link, Sinead, that has all the pricing and the discount.
I'm going to drop the pricing link.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, I don't even know how much the discount is. And I feel like Ashley is still here. Ashley knows in US dollars. Heather, if I have an informed consent form as well as an LLC, do I still need insurance? Heather, this is a great question. So I'm guessing that you're in the US because you're saying you have an LLC. This is a great question to ask an insurance company like BYogi, and they will answer your question, like even though you're not with them. Joe and Lizzie over at BYogi are great to chat with. We had them on the podcast as well. We had Joe on, and I'm not a lawyer, so I can't answer that. Sinead, I feel like I need insurance for myself. I know that to protect me. Do you answer these questions or?
We can get back to you on it. I know I have my insurance too, and BYogi are a great resource for that. So when we send out the email in the next 24 hours, we can add in a link to BYogi as well to answer these questions. I love that Ashley is popping in here with the pricing as well. So it's there's different pricing for Offering Tree depending on annual or monthly, but the Essentials plan is $22 a month if you do it annually, $29 a month if you do it monthly. I use the Essentials plan, but we do have the Pro plan as well, which is really good for people who are working on mine a lot because you get a bit of fee saving with some of the costs there. And we also have a studio plan. So I dropped the link in the comments. And again, we'll send out some of these links with that email together tomorrow. I think
Helen has a good question. Yeah. Helen saying, can I ask, does Offering Tree host videos that I can use them for sale, rental, membership type thing, or do I need to host them elsewhere?
That is a great question. So usually there's 2 ways that we can do it. And Ashley, I know that you've got loads of info on this because you do a lot of it too. If you're selling it in your online store, I think you can upload it just from your local hard drive. So when I'm putting things in my online store for my little yoga biz, I link it straight from my hard drive. But generally, if you're selling it as like a course, it needs to be linked through providers such as YouTube or Vimeo. I use YouTube because it's free. And you just drop in the link into your website and it can host there. Another question that also often follows on from that is there a limit to the size of the videos? And there is. It's 2 gigabytes, which is a huge amount of data anyway. Most videos fall way within it. But if you do need to, you can compress the videos. And we have all that information on our Offering Tree site as well. So
yeah, I just uploaded like a 6-week series. I actually have the last class to upload today, and I could put an hour-long Zoom class because Zoom compresses things when it records to the cloud, so that fit easily on there. So I think, yeah, go for it. Like That's one reason why I use Offering Trees, because I can host my videos on there for that. Oh, MJ, I'd love to hear a podcast from older teachers and their challenges. It's a whole new world from the days of just teaching at studios in person. It is so true. Thank you, Ashley, for putting those prices in there. Thank you, Muna, for saying thank you. Oh, yay, you signed up to the Connected Yoga Teacher Facebook group. Yeah, reach out to me or to the team at Offering Tree if you have more questions beyond today. I love to chat with yoga teachers. I wish I could just sit and visit with all of you today.
I see one more question here that I wanted to get to, and it's from Alan. I'm going to say Alan and just go with the first name. The price is for everything, the essentials package. You've asked, is that the price for the website through Offering Tree? Does that include the scheduler? So with the essentials package, you get everything you need. So that's the $22 a month / $29 a month if it's a monthly payment. You get the scheduler, the email marketing, you can send newsletters, write a blog, you can run a membership, you can host an on-demand library, it's your website, it's got Zoom integration, it's everything. So that's what we really love about it. And yeah, I'll send out some more info and some links that you can check out if you're interested. So thank you, everyone. We're going to cut it off just there because we're running a little bit over time, but I'm going to take a copy of these questions and then we can shoot back and answer anyone that needs it. And we're always here. Shannon is at the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast with a huge amount of resources for yoga teachers and her Facebook group. And Offering Tree is just offeringtree.com, or you can reach out to us by email, hello@offeringtree.com. And one of the team is always there. There are real humans behind the screen listening and interacting. So thank you, everybody, for being here for these amazing questions. And thank you so much, Shannon, for your time and your wisdom as usual. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Sinead. Thanks for everyone for being here. It's so fun. We'll connect again somewhere.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.